Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Sorry, an unnoticed, an unflagged up, a non-flagged up live night shift. Has anyone else been watching the news? Have you been watching the news? I was just editing away in here a short documentary actually, and the news has just broken that no gatherings over six, no social gatherings over six, or all gatherings, social gatherings over six from Monday will be illegal. Not a recommendation, but illegal, starting with fines. I think around the £100-200 mark, rising fined £100, rising up to 3,200 for repeat offences. There are some exceptions. There are some exceptions to this rule, and the exceptions are if in a work situation or a educational situation, or whether your family has more than 6 members within the bubble. So that would mean you can have someone in your bubble, you can meet someone from another house, but you can't meet more than 6 people that aren't in your bubble or from your house, in total. So that's going to have a huge impact, I think, on social gatherings at weekends and things like that. So the exceptions are education, work, sporting scenarios. Henrietta Henson, what about antiques fairs? I mean, we were just talking about this. We were talking about just talking with the girls about if you were accidentally coming. So if you live alone, you can no longer see friends. You can still see friends. You just can't see more than 6. There can't be, including you. There can't be more than 6 of you. How many people can gather together? It includes going to pubs. So, in many regards, aren't people going to get round this by claiming or being in groups of 6 that come together? Huh? How will they police this? Samantha Obertel. People have not been abiding by the rules from the beginning. Far too complicated. Well, the rules have all been recommendations. Nothing. What's notable about this is that that they've been recommendations up until now. And as everyone's observed, we've all fallen foul of bending the edges of that, or just having had enough at times, and what have you. But this is illegality. This is, you know, who has 6 friends anyway? No, it's not even about 6 friends. It's about more than 6 people meeting socially. So I was trying to think of an example. So if you were to have a Sunday roast, but there's only 3 people in your family, and normally 4 other members of your family come to visit, say from another house, they can't all visit, presumably. Unless they're in your bubble, unless they're in your house. So footballers are allowed to play as normal, and we're not allowed to meet in a group. Absolutely. I do think that colleges, schools should have a mask on all day, though. I don't get how in school and colleges there's an exception for educational institutions. There's an exception for Anyway, I just wanted to go live and just ask you for these kind of opinions, really. Has anyone sort of read weddings? There's an exception for weddings. I think you can still reach to 30. And I think there's an exception for funerals as well. It's only me. Footballers are tested. That's the difference. Yeah. Like Nadia's been tested. I was tested two days ago. Raving bonkers, Linda Tyler. Jan Lovegrove, if there's 5 in a family, you can only see 1 grandparent. 30,000 people attended the anti-lockdown march in London. Charlie, I run a support group for parents of children with autism. As we meet in a church, now, Carly Bruh. What you mentioned there is quite key, actually. You have a group for parents of all children with autism. We meet in a church. We haven't been able to meet since March. We're planning to start again next month. Now, I don't know how. I don't know how formal. So, for example, if you were a film crew, but you were not funded, you weren't commissioned, or say you were making something speculatively or low budget or self-financed, are you able to film? Because if you've got a crew of larger than 6, probably not. You know, how do those exceptions rule? Is it like, I mean, generally when you're filming out, you know, you need a permit. Are people going to be asked for permits? Are you going to need permits? I mean, I think part of this is about, as Connor says, making house parties illegal and tackling the issues of these impromptu illegal raves and all that kind of stuff. Get that, got it. My fear is you're going to drive them further underground. But something's just come up just there from the Huffington Post saying, has Boris lost control again? Is this a, what do you think, guys? Is this a knee-jerk reaction to the beginning, the slow increase of cases? Or is this an appropriate response? Callum Metcalf. The government are happy to blame 17 to 30-year-olds, yet won't take action when their own members are breaking the rules. It's a farce. That's exactly what they're talking about on LBC. The fact they're even talking about, I mean, interestingly, Tom Swarbrick, I think is his name, is saying that the government are saying they're gonna actively break the law when it comes to the Brexit deal that they've signed, but they're asking everyone else to observe these rules. And there is a bit of a blame game going on. I mean, you know, we were all young once, and I think we have to understand, I think I talked about this the other day, everyone has their own tolerance levels, and at the point where recommendations are made, okay, fine, if something's illegal, it's illegal. But there's a lot of pointing and naming and shaming, and, you know, we've fallen foul of it with Cornwall and some of the vlogs and what have you. But, you know, everyone is being given recommendations. If people are making their own assessments based on whether, for instance, they've been tested or a test has happened here or they know they've been self-isolated, those pre-decisions are there in every family. They're not watertight and they're not waterproof. But as soon as it becomes a matter of legality, I think it's a different kettle of fish altogether. I'm neither anti it nor pro it. I'm kind of reporting the news, and I'm curious to know what you think about it, guys. So, for example, if the girls were going to meet more than 6 people in a park, I think at the moment you're allowed to meet up to 30 people. Is that right? Outside, you can't. How's that going to work? It's only me. The government lost a lot of credibility since Dominic Cummings. Yeah. Jan Galvin, I'm doing okay without NADIA. I'm doing all right without NADIA. I'm drinking, I'm working, I'm getting on with stuff. Mandy Dennis, too confusing, still doesn't make sense, and some people, they won't abide by this. Do we not feel there is something more to all of this, WW Ord? What will that be? What do you think that could be? I'm just trying to work out what you think it could be. What's Kim Lakides? It's time for the vulnerable to look after themselves. But some young people live with the vulnerable. It's not their fault. Absolutely. So if 12 people meeting apart, but we stand in groups of 6, is it okay to play at that? I think those thoughts are already happening. I think those thoughts are already being thought about. How do you go about it? You know, how are people going to get around it? How is it going to be policed? I mean, what do you think, guys? Have we got any police people here in the UK? How are they going to be able to manage that? Miss One Trisha, I run a voluntary friendship club for the retired, and we haven't been able to run since March. It's so sad because for some it was one of the only places they met other people. Yeah, for these voluntary organisations where you've got no formal or official kind of organisational element, you know, this is where I think this could become quite tricky. I'm having my party Saturday. Can I still have that? Yeah, the law comes in on Monday. The law comes in on Monday. Unless Big Brother is watching, it's like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. Damned if you make the rules, damned if you don't. Very true, very true. It is just like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. Josh Pittard, good question. Does this apply to people in Wales? Is this a nationwide? It's in England. It's in England. So the headline on the Times is, it's in England. There is just so much going on that makes no sense whatsoever with all this. I'm no conspiracy person, WW Ward, but no mug either, and I just don't get it. I think I'm probably in the same camp as you. I'm not a fan of the whole conspiracy theory thing, but I am a fan of being able to question the dominant narrative without being called a conspiracy theorist, or without being called a COVID denier, or without being told that you're irresponsible. We've seemed to have lost sight of the fact that we were once all responsible, you know, dictatorial creatures that could make their own choices and do their own things. We seem to have handed over all sort of permissions to outside of ourselves and to others to point the finger and blame. That's why I think we are all trying to get back to a new normal. And I think the fudging of boundaries is not people trying to be disrespectful to those who are vulnerable, but everyone's making educated choices. So for example, we are driving everywhere, we're not traveling on public transport. We you know, Nadia's taken a COVID test, I've had a COVID test, you know, they've come back as negative. And so, you know, there are various things that we are doing in order to ensure that we are as safe as we can be at certain points that we film stuff or do stuff and things like that. So I think, you know, I think we're in a situation now where, and if anyone queries anything or doesn't go with the flow on these things, you're somehow named and shamed, and I do find that a bit frustrating. Callum Metcalf, public transport has been eerily quiet recently. I'm even getting a seat on the train. In Scotland, we're not allowed in each other's homes. Not everyone can afford to sit in a coffee shop or a bar to meet their mum. It's expensive, JC. Very good point. Terry W, glad you came on. Has just seen the statement online. You were right. You said something was brewing earlier. Didn't I? Felt like there was some big announcement coming. It felt like we were building towards something. Thank you for reminding me that I had that sense this morning. I want a party, just said it, but I don't want to get shamed. Well, again, if it happens before Monday, again, we have this arbitrary, as long as it doesn't happen before Monday. So now, is everyone going to go out on a great big bender again this weekend? Why introduce it on a Monday? I'm not saying we should introduce it. I'm not necessarily saying it's the right thing at this point. I'm still processing it. But why not sort of hold it, if you're going to do it, why not do it before a weekend? Because isn't the tendency that everyone's going to go start raving bonkers this weekend? Yeah, naming and shaming culture is frustrating. Conspiracy theorist, aka truth seekers, you could say that. I think we have become very complacent who have said the second wave is on its way. I think we need to get ready. I've had 5 COVID tests, all negative. It's just horrific, this. Louise Jones. Tra-la-la, hi darling, how are you? We are in East Renfrewshire, all into a new lockdown. Rising number, but still only 296,000, so still very few. I mean, you know, again, in defence of the government, if they don't react, then they're hit. You know, whenever you have to make a hard choice, there's always more than one choice, and there's always going to be people banging on about the choice you didn't make. So, you know, I get that, which is why I'm still in the process of processing this information. I'm trying to work out if it's the appropriate, inappropriate. Again, it's that thing. I don't know who just said that I felt this thing this morning. Can we be told the science? Can we be told, where's Whitty? Can we have someone telling us why? Okay, people are getting complacent. What is the science telling us? We keep hearing the science, but we never see the science. It's only me. A knee-jerk reaction, interestingly, to potential freshers' parties, maybe. Very interesting. You're right. The timing is particularly apt, isn't it? It's particularly apt. Sorry you missed seeing Nadia. I literally can't magic her up for the next 4 or 5 days. She'll be unaware of this because she's on a digital detox. That's funny, isn't it? Martin Smith, the announcement is just going to throw people into panic. Did you cook chicken? Vlog was a bit nah. What does that mean, a bit nah? I thought it was a bit fun. What do you think of the confirmation that the government broke the law in a very specific way? Yeah, I agree. Please don't stop hospital clinics, though. I'd rather other things close, but clinics still go ahead. Yeah, I don't think it's accompanied with a desire to go into any sort of lockdown. I think they just want to manage the social instinct. No, I posted it on Nadia's Instagram, Francois Camanzuli. I think they're wanting to hammer the instinct to party in big groups. Be glad you're not in Bolton. We are pretty much back in lockdown. I was going to ask Sally 4 times. Is it proper? I saw shots of Bolton, and it looked like London back in March. 2020 just got worse. No more Kardashians. My God, what's Nadia going to say? What do you mean? Have they pulled the plug on the Kardashians? No way. So you can still have a bubble in your house. You can still have your bubble. You just, if you've got big families and you're used to seeing each other at the weekends, and there's 4 of you in your household, and there's, say, 3 in another and 2 in another, not all of you are going to be able to come together. On BBC News tonight, it said, Sarah Baylor, the spread is caused by household spread particularly, and that's the reasoning. Bolton was 15, now it's 150 per 100,000. Danielle Abertan, my God, the Kardashians news is going to be a huge blow for Nads. Happy birthday, Jess, for Friday. Jess edits. You're not getting old at all. I think with the government, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. I agree. Callum Metcalf, they only just started having visitors at my granddad's care home. Sadly, think this will mean this has to stop. He suffers massively with anxiety. And she became a butterfly. I live in central London and many people are not social distancing or wearing masks. Popped into Waitrose tonight and not one person had a mask on. I've noticed that. I've noticed it getting a lot. I mean, they're not, again, it's a recommendation, isn't it? It's not a, or is it a recommendation? I thought shop owners could fine you if you didn't wear them. No, I don't think schools will close. I don't think schools will ever close again. I don't think the economy will be ever closed down again. I think this is the kind of thing we're going to encounter. Regionalised lockdowns, a tightening of social freedoms, and rather than recommendations, legally binding laws. This is the tapestry of life that we're about to enter now. Oh, dearie me. So there you go, guys. What do you think of it? How do you feel? How do you feel? How does it make you feel, all of this? It's not necessarily a huge ratcheting up of drama, but it's a perceptible tightening, and I think it's big enough news that every news station I can hear and turn on is reporting it. So you know, I suppose it's big enough news. We'll see what the papers and what the pundits. I'm going to go and watch the news, see what the pundits make of it in the morning, and we'll all have another natter in the morning. So put your thinking caps on tonight, guys. Do your research. That's your homework. Let's all reconvene tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, for coffee moaning, and let's discuss things. I mean, they are talking about not being able to have gatherings of more than 6 in pubs and things like that. So yeah, so check that out. So check us out tomorrow morning, coffee moaning. Hit the thumbs up, everyone, if you want to join in the conversation, and tell us what you think about the government. Tell us what you think about the rule. I'll put something up on the community page straight after this, so you can all keep on ranting and chatting, and then I'll dip into it tomorrow in the live. All right, guys, lots of love. Sleep well, sleep tight. Night.